What you're hearing from these people in this regression, is it safe to assume we're going to be okay?
Oh, are you talking to me?
Oh, there's nobody else out there.
Oh, okay. I'm sorry, I had it on the speakerphone listening to it while you were doing the commercials. I didn't know when it was you or when it's live and when it's the other. Okay. All right. Now, there were some things I wanted to clarify on that last part. Is that okay?
All right, and then we'll get into this.
Okay, the third wave, the new children. This is one thing that the people have to understand. These are kids who are different than the ones that have come before. They're coming in with a tremendous amount of knowledge, and they learn things extremely fast. This is why the teachers are going to have to learn to understand this. I've spoken at conferences about educating the educators because they don't understand these new children. See, the reason they get bored so quickly is because they already know this information and they learn extremely fast. The kids have told me the teacher will ask them for an answer to a question, especially math or something. They give them the answer. The teacher says, well, how did you find that answer? And they said, I know it. And that's not good enough. The teacher wants them to go step by step. They have this remarkable ability. And then they said that the kids say the teacher goes over and over and over something. He said, I got it the first time. So this is why they become bored and disruptive. And they should never, never be put on drugs because this is hampering their abilities. Ritalin is very bad for them. So they gave me solutions that I've been trying to give to the teachers. If you recognize these kind of children, they're not being disruptive because they're bad. They're being disruptive because they're bored. So I said if you could single them out and give them a project just for themselves, something to focus on, something to do. They said even if you give them something to tear apart and put back together again, you're channeling their energy in a creative way, and you won't have as much trouble with them. And I think those are very good ideas, and I've been trying to share this with teachers and parents everywhere. You've got to understand this is a new breed of kids.
As difficult as it is to comprehend, it does make sense that these people, you call them the volunteers, would be going through all these various stages over the past 40 or 50, 60 years.
Yeah. But these new kids, I saw a video not very long ago about these children. Some of them are only 9 and 10 years old, have already graduated from college. And some of them are already forming their own corporations. And it's amazing that the corporations they're forming and the organizations they're putting together are dealing with helping the children of the world. Can you see what's happening here?
Yeah. There's a pattern, isn't there?
There's a pattern, definitely. The older ones are the ones that had the most trouble, but the newer ones are coming in with everything in place. If we don't disrupt it and harm it, that's the problem.
Is there going to be a fourth wave?
No, because something else is going to happen. I was thinking we should get into that before we go into further. I don't know if you've heard people talk about the new Earth.
Explain that.
Okay. Because you mentioned earlier, what about the greedy people and those? Are they going to take over the world, et cetera, et cetera? If that's the world you want to live in, all right. But there is what is going to happen. We have already begun to do this. We are shifting into a new Earth. This began about 2003, and we're in the middle of it right now. And the vibrations and the frequencies of the entire planet are going to push it into a different dimension. First time it's ever happened in the history of the universes. Very momentous occasion that it will move into a new dimension. And we can get into 2012. It's all tied in with all of that. If 2012 is not the end of the world, I don't know where they came up with this violence. I've seen the commercials on TV about the movie. That's not what 2012 is all about.
Oh, the movie will scare the heck out of you, Dolores.
Oh, definitely. But that's not what it's about at all. 2012, they said, is not the final, it's the culmination, when the vibrations and the frequencies are meeting their peak. And whenever we cross over, if we want to cross over. Now, this is, I'm trying to explain this as easy as I can. This is what I'm lecturing on everywhere now. The information I gave about the 3 waves, this is the first time I gave that on the radio. But I've been lecturing on it all over the world, and about the new Earth, which I think is very important. They were going to separate into 2 Earths, the old Earth and the new Earth. The new Earth is where all the violence will be. You have the volcanic eruptions, the earthquakes, all of the natural Earth disasters are going to be on the old Earth. The wars, all of that will be left with that. The negativity, as you said, the greed, the power hungry. Because they said down through history, many, many civilizations have risen to the point where they could do anything. Their minds were so advanced, they could do anything. Then man would come to the point that he would have greed come in and power, and the civilization would end up being destroyed. Atlantis was one example. It's the one that's the most popular. But there were also many before that were also reached the peak and was destroyed, because they said once you start going against the laws of nature, we can't have that. And that's when the civilization would have to be destroyed. But the problem is, every time one is destroyed, then they said you have to start all over again. There would be survivors left each time to start the whole world again, but it would take so much time to generate a whole new civilization and get it to the peak. They want us to advance. They want us to get to where eventually we will be with them in what they call the Federation, because they want us because of our curiosity and our creativity. But as long as we have the violence, it can't be allowed. We destroy everything we touch. So down through time, all these civilizations, they would reach a peak. Psychic development and psychic abilities would be extremely powerful. Man would misuse it, and they would have to be destroyed. This time, they said, we're heading that direction again. That's why they said, you must know this knowledge. One of the things we are doing that are going against the laws of nature, like the other ones did, is this genetic thing that we're doing. I heard on the commercials you're talking about the crops. This is not allowed, and we're genetically manipulating animals, which is not allowed. These are going against the laws of nature.
It's going to backfire on us.
It did before. This is what brought Atlantis down. Atlantis, I think they got bored, because Atlantis had existed for thousands of years. It was not just a short civilization. But they were also manipulating genes, and they had half man and half animal. This is where all of your legends came from. It was not the Greeks and the Romans. They were carrying forth memories of the what really happened at Atlantis. Your centaur, your minotaur, all the half man, half animals were genetically created in Atlantis, and they were used as servants. They were sterile. Well, they said this was one of the main reasons they had to go down, because they were interfering with the laws of nature. And they said, you must know this, because your scientists are doing the same thing. And you probably know, for several years now, they have been genetically introducing human cells into pigs.
Yes.
And that's so that they were able to transplant their organs into the human body.
Yeah.
The human body will reject any foreign object, but if the organ had human cells in it, the body would accept it. That's the theory. But there was one scientist who told them, he warned them, he said, yes, it's safe to handle pork, it's safe to eat pork, but what's going to happen if you put a pig organ into the body that is being constantly supplied by blood, and the cells are moving throughout the body, it could create a disease that we would have no cure for.
Well, that's true. Well, now they put pig valves in us. Could that be a problem?
I think